gosu.com.
Hello and welcome to another Hero Highlights edition of Let's Learn Some Dota 2 presented by gosu.com. I'm Jeff, the site's editor-in-chief, and today we're going to be talking about the Chaos Knight. The Chaos Knight is a pretty cool hero in that he's good for a lot of different things, and he's very, very fun to play in just about every single role that he can perform. He's a semi-carry, meaning he can carry games in a pinch, but he's not a hard carry like the Drow Ranger we talked about last time. He's a great ganker, he's a great chaser, and he can also do things like push and initiate fights really well. So without further ado, let's jump into the replay. So I'm going to be playing the Chaos Knight here. Let's take a look at the team structures first and the layout to get some full context for how this game is going to go. I'm playing on the Radiant side, and I've got myself as the Chaos Knight and my buddy here as the Lich. This is great because since I'm going to be kind of a mid-game ganker, a late-game carry, that kind of thing, you really, really want to have a support in your lane with you. And if you're doing this with a friend, the way you want to set it up is that the mid-game ganker or the carry basically tries to take all of the last hits on enemy creeps and farm as much as they can. The support tries to deny your creeps, and Lich is great at that because Lich obviously has an ability that does it automatically and gives the Lich more mana back, but also Lich can focus on last hitting your own creeps. The Lich can also focus on harassing enemy heroes and keeping them off of you. So that's a really, really great setup to have. So let's take a look at their structure. They've got Slardar, who we're going to be laying against, and there's an Enigma here as well. Enigma is probably going to go jungle, and I think does end up going jungling very soon. So for the most part, it's just us against Slardar, and you can imagine that's not going to go well for Slardar, especially one who very, very foolishly bought these like very last hit-inducing items. Their only regen is a set of 3 tangos. A Lich and a Chaos Knight, who both have nukes, can eat through that like it's nothing. So this is a really advantageous lane set up for farming, and I'm going to end up taking advantage of that. In our mid lane, we've got a Razor, who's one of their kind of stronger late-game carries, versus a Pudge, who's an amazing roamer, mid-game ganker, that sort of thing. So, you know, it could go either way here. Bot lane, we've got Timbersaw and Juggernaut. Which is a reasonably okay combination. They're both melee, which kind of is a bummer, but they're the safe lane, so hopefully they'll be able to take advantage of that. They're going to be up against, however, a Venomancer and a Necrolite, both of whom are ranged and both of whom are capable of dealing lots of damage and are very survivable. So that could end up being a little tough for them. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get started and see how things go. So, we've been playing for a little while here. The Slardar has been very good at last hitting under the tower. So he's actually managed to pick up some decent CS. He's at 7-1, I'm at 7-1 as well. But he's down to 2 tangos. And I just want to show how quickly those 2 tangos are going to evaporate. Now that we've got, you know, some levels on us, we're level 2, going to hit level 3 pretty soon. So he's now down to 1 tango left after a Lich nuke. Another Lich nuke. Lich, again, denying that creep. So even though he's good at last hitting under that tower, there's going to be 1 less for him. So yeah, look at him go. He's going to get some pretty decent CS there. Very, very good on his part. It's probably on account of his Quelling Blade and Blades of Attack build. And there goes his last tango. He now has no regen left whatsoever. And he's got 750 gold, so he can obviously buy some more, but he probably doesn't want to do that. So he's going to sort of loaf around and try to gain some EXP here. He's got a double wave coming, but we decided to go on him anyway because we see he's got no regen. And look at that, he's now down to 300 HP, and we're free to just sort of sit back, farm. He can't come close to us at all, since we've got that double wave coming at us from the pull that Enigma did. we're going to deny him just a metric ton of experience, and my CS has already then surpassed his, which is really, really handy. We're pulling back even more right now just to allow this siege creep to die. We know that that Slardar's nowhere near it. And yeah, I'm just going to sit here, continue to farm. Slardar comes up again. Lich immediately threatens, nukes. We run up. I do the pull. Sadly, he's going to escape here because he's got a nice little haste ability. But, yeah, no regen on him. He can't come near us. He's got under 100 HP. We still have the creeps well into our range. And I believe Lich just killed the courier because he's a baller. And yeah, at this point, you know, my CS is doing pretty damn well. The only person who's ahead of me is Enigma, because Enigma is one of the strongest junglers in the game. And that sort of will just happen. So let's talk about what this all has cost Slardar. After our last little exchange, he has run all the way back to the fountain to heal. He's level 4. You know, dead courier, couldn't buy more regen that way. Ran all the way back for some reason. He did not. His items must have been on the courier, so he spent all his gold, but he can't use any of it. We are both now level 4. My CS has jumped to 21 and 3, while his has stayed stagnant at 12 and 1. And Slardar and Chaos Knight play very similar roles in the game, so you know, we're almost directly comparable. Me being ahead of him is a big deal, particularly when he's basically soloing the lane, because I can do my job a lot better than he can do his. So he's going to come all the way back, still no regen items. Nuke, stun, pull, smashy smash. Again, he's going to escape, but look at that. He's down to 200 HP again, no regen in sight. And there's just not much he can do about this situation. In the meantime, I can continue to farm, and Lich and I are going to remain kind of ahead of him levels. He's going to run all the way back to the fountain and heal again, and life is just good for us. So we've just had a little bit of action up top, resulting in me getting a kill, them killing our Pudge. But it was a pretty even exchange. I ran out to heal. I noticed Lich is back defending top. Enigma's push has been pretty much slowed. And I've been farming well, and I'm getting some pretty good levels. I'm working on my armlet. I'm not quite there yet. But I decided, you know what? Our bottom lane's been having a little bit of trouble. I'm going to come help them and go ahead and gank. Because we're starting to move towards that mid-game phase where, you know, I'm level 7. And I can be relevant. So go in, stun the Necrolite, pull him in. He's pretty much dead at this point. There's not a damn thing he can do about it. Jug takes a bunch of damage, but he manages to get away. Very successful gank overall. Now, Pudge is coming in too, so I'm like, well, let's see if we can tempt Vino into sticking around. I don't know what our Juggernaut is doing. Maybe that was bait, but we stun him. I figure, Pudge, you can ult him or something, and he'll be dead. I don't know what Pudge decided to do there. Ran away. Vino puts up a really good ward. Vino is going to die there, but I'm poisoned to death. Fortunately, Blue, in a very heads-up play, goes ahead and denies me, which is a very, very smart maneuver because we still end up coming out very far on top. You know, they lost 2 heroes throughout that entire thing, and we lost 1, but they got no gold out of it. I'm watching Pudge while I'm dead. He gets another kill out of it, which is great. Razor's coming in for revenge, though. You gotta be careful. And I guess I respawn. I get the TP up. Just barely not in time to save Pudge, but I finish off Razor, so that's great.
Chaos and corruption.
Timbersaw obviously would have gotten that kill, so maybe not necessarily worth it for me to TP in there, but I was trying to save Pudge. So let's talk about items real quick. I'm grabbing power, or I got power treads, because it's really, really good to get stats items with Chaos Knight. Let's talk about his skills a little bit. He's got Chaos Bolt, which is a stun that's a little hard to predict. It can do random damage with a minimum and maximum that increase based on level. The duration also functions the same way with a minimum and maximum that increase based on level. At level 4, it's a minimum 2-second stun, a maximum 4-second stun. So 4 seconds is a long time in a team fight, so that can be very, very good. Then we've got Reality Rift. Reality Rift is like a weird sort of blink strike, in that it pulls the enemy towards you at a random point in a line between you and the enemy, and it's got a casting range of, or it goes up with level. It starts at 550 and ends at 700. But basically, you could end up pulling them all the way to you. You could end up pretty much on their location. You just don't know. Usually somewhere in between. Then we've got Chaos Strike, which is a ridiculously powerful crit. It's always a 10% chance, but the percentage damage increase goes up with level. I'm going to fight Razor here. That's a good example of Chaos Bolt, followed by Reality Rift. Now Pudge is going to rot him down. He probably could have ulted there to prevent a little bit more damage coming to us, but whatever. He still got the kill, can't complain. And then Chaos Knight's ult is called Phantasm. Phantasm creates images of the Chaos Knight. The image number goes up through level. Or illusions, not images. They last 24 seconds, and they do full damage, which is pretty damn awesome. It doesn't exactly mean what you think it means, though. Or rather, damage needs to be defined. The damage that they do is based entirely on your stat-oriented damage. Meaning, wow, they got Roche, which is bad news for us, but whatever, we'll deal. That means if you have an item like Blades of Attack, which gives you just a straight damage bonus, it doesn't carry over to your images. But if you have an item like Power Treads that gives a strength bonus, and strength being your primary attribute, it will allow you to gain some damage based on that, then that will carry over to your images. So you want to get stat-focused items. Your images also synergize really well with Reality Rift. When you create your images, when you teleport yourself to an enemy, it teleports all the images as well. Reality Rift also adds bonus damage to your attack like a traditional Blink Strike does. So, order of operations becomes really important with Chaos Knight. Especially if you get an Armlet, which is the item that I just got now. Armlet is has a toggleable ability called Unholy Strength, which gives a bonus of 25 strength while active. It also drains your health, so that's the downside. But 25 strength obviously gives me a damage increase. Now, if you use Chaos Knight's ultimate, Phantasm, while you've got Unholy Strength turned on, your images actually get the strength bonus, but they do not get the damage that comes with that unholy strength. So, when you're Chaos Knight, I don't do this every time this game because I'm still sort of new to the hero and kind of getting used to it, and, you know, I end up with so many items that it's hard to actually use them all properly. What you want to do is turn on your Armlet, then use Phantasm, then use Reality Rift, and that is how you maximize your damage output, because you get stronger images, all your images get pulled with you, and it can be just supremely powerful. We'll see some examples of that later on. So I want to talk about something that's always worth noting when you are a good ganking hero like the Chaos Knight, particularly one that has a disable. Keep an eye on your minimap for situations like this one, where your tower is really low, and you've got an enemy who's just tempted to get the tower. They will be more reckless than normal, because they're trying to get that tower kill. When you see that happening, TP. Even though he got that tower, we obviously avenged its death very, very thoroughly. Now, of course, there are two more of them around. Timber's got to be real careful. Unfortunately, he dies. There's a lot of damage drain going on there with the poison, etc. But still, you know, TPing in there was totally the right decision. Got a good kill out of it. Couldn't deny the tower, which is a bummer. I'm going to lose another one there, which is also not so good. But just keep an eye out for those situations where you can TP in on someone and you know that they're going to have that decision-making process where it's like, do I stay or do I go, or do I do what? So yeah, I'm gonna pull the Vino here. This was a really unwise decision on my part. I thought with Lich's ult we could do some serious damage there because of all the creeps around. I thought it would just bounce around in a circle. Obviously it didn't. So we have a good example of a gank followed by a not so good example of a gank. You know, remember, even if you had a really good start and you're feeling really strong, that you can still get killed if you just reality rift at half health and do like a million creeps. But hey, Pudge might get a kill here. I don't know, it's gonna be close. No, Slar's too quick. So this may not be a perfect example, but it's pretty damn close to me doing kind of everything I'm supposed to be doing in terms of that order of operations I was talking about earlier. I'm farming mid a bit. Vino comes in, hits me with a Gale. For some reason, chases me. The only thing I don't do here is turn my armlet on, which was obviously a big mistake. But I used my ult, then I reality rifted, and you saw how all three of my images were suddenly hitting him at the same time, and how quickly he died. And then Razor comes in, tries to clean me up, but I managed to get away. So it's very, very strong, even at kind of a mid-level. So at this point it's a pretty close game, but we're losing the tower war, which is a problem. So our team decides it's time to maybe push mid a bit. So this time I do it right. I managed to get the armlet off, which gives my illusions that much more damage. But our initiate gets kind of blown. Unfortunately, I don't get the stun off. So again, order of operations is pretty tricky. Pudge gets a great hook on Razor, managed to pull him back in, guaranteeing the kill. You know, we're still sort of working at it. I'm a little low on health, and I turn my armlet off, and my health appears even lower, obviously, because I lose all that strength. Pudge gets another good hook on the Venomancer at this point. Venomancer's running away. I go in to guarantee the kill with the stun. You know, maybe it was a little chaosy, but at the same time, they've got a Necrolite who can heal, and Chaos Knight getting the kill is not that bad. So, great ult there by Lich, at least to set this up. Again, the amount of damage I do is pretty ridiculous, so even though I'm pretty low, and Necrolite could have killed me in one ult, I know in that situation, given how forward he is, he's already slowed, that if I stun him and do everything right, we'll kill him before he can touch us. So, managed to do that. Unfortunately, though, we still don't get the tower, but still a pretty good team fight overall for us. A good exchange, I would say. So jumping forward a bit, there have been several successful ganks at this point involving myself and Pudge. You know, he's got 13 kills, I've got 11 kills. We're kind of owning up this mid-game, as it were. Our score lead is increased to 29-20 when it was very, very even at around like 18-18 earlier. And I'm going to talk about kind of a tipping point here for Chaos Knight. I'm level 17, which means I'm now maxed out in my skills. The way I build Chaos Knight is I stack the stun and reality rift and ult early, and then I get the crits kind of last. Once you get all those crits, like there's like this small window in the game where you're just absurd. And I want to take advantage of that and be kind of aggressive. I've also built a Sangay and Yasha. Normally I don't really like Sangay and Yasha that much because it's kind of a jack-of-all-trades, master-of-none item. But I like getting it with drums with Chaos Knight because it gives you so much extra move speed. My move speed is 444 here, which means it's going to be very difficult for people to escape me. So, I'm feeling kind of good. So I push the lane out a bit. I see Slardar farming here. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to take advantage. I do everything right here. I turn on my unholy strength. I ult. That's 1 down, 2 down, 3 down. Look at that. Look at how much damage I just did to him. That was 3 images, or myself and 2 images, critting for 600. Vino's now jumping me. Boom, dead. I just killed 3 heroes on their team like it was nothing. Of course, Vino got his ult off, so now I'm kind of lower on HP. But I've turned my armlet off. CK good hero because, well, he is. And we're going to go ahead and push. Pudge gets a great hook. 4-second stun. You are not going anywhere, Necrolite. And at this point, you know, I was thinking we probably have this game in the bag, but you know, of course, I'll be proven wrong. But that was obviously a very, very good exchange for me and the team. We just sort of wrecked face there. Instead of pushing in, we elect to go for Roche because Blue has teleported out to defend bottom. Maybe that was a bit of a mistake, but I don't know. It's tough to say because I really don't like it when people over-push in Dota 2 because there's this temptation after you get one tower and a few of their heroes are dead to think like, okay, even though we've blown our ults and kind of used all our spells and we're lower on mana, let's just keep going. All that usually tends to land you is just a bunch of death. So instead we sit here, we Roche, and I elect to give Juggernaut the Aegis, which also may have been a slight mistake, you know, because right now I'm doing so much damage, and I'm sort of an initiator that maybe I should have taken it, but instead I said, Jug, you take it, because I figure he's more of a hard carry than I am. Slardar comes in for some unknown reason, and yeah, I don't know if we get him. We'll find out. But here comes their team fight. Oh god. They have so much draining power with that black hole and Enigma's spells. Yeah, if I'd given myself the Aegis, I don't think so sad. But, you know, still ends up being a pretty even exchange. Even if Jug dies here, obviously he's got the Aegis. I rage buyback. Well, maybe not rage, but I figure I can afford it at this point. But yeah, no, so lots of action still to come this game. So jumping forward a bit, still feeling pretty good here. You know, we've pushed down most of their tier 2 towers. Their top one is the only one left. I decided to just sort of start pushing that lane, see what we can do. Because I really kind of want to end this game. You know, we're up 37-22. And I get, you know, probably a bit overconfident just because of how well I'm doing again with my 16 kills and Pudge's 14 kills. I figure, you know, they don't have too much of a shot. We're taking this one home. Unfortunately for me, I don't really take into account just how strong their team is defensively. And the real source of their strength is all of the damage over time they have, particularly in kind of an AoE setting. You've got Venomancer's ult, which is massive poison damage. You've got Enigma's black hole and his, I forget the name of the ability, but you know, his AoE damage drain. Very, very powerful. We're about to see it here as we push in. You've got a Slardar who can just go in and kind of stun everybody. You know, I'm using an armlet too, so I'm losing a lot of HP. You know, I'm really not thinking this through. And on top of that, you've got Heartstopper Aura, for goodness sake. So their team can just, you know, despite the fact that we've got tons of strength, we've got tons of HP regen, their team not only cancels it out, they actually manage to overtake it. So, you know, I start thinking, okay, I need to get myself more tanky, but really what I should have done a lot earlier is consider getting a Vlad's, or asking someone on our team to get a Vlad's, which is something we eventually do, but, you know, again, it's like, it felt like we had this unstoppable push, and lo and behold, at the ramp, they just sit there and they stall us. So, yeah, because I'm dead, I'm looking at a random place on the map right now. So a little later on in the game, our team again starts to, you know, make some of those classic late game mistakes that teams start to make when they get stalled. For instance, our Timbersaw, I believe, is about to attempt to solo Roche. Now he's pretty strong. He's got a Bloodstone with a few charges on it, and I think a couple other things, but he's not that strong. And I think he makes it pretty obvious that that's what he's going to do. Or rather, Veno has a ward there. So, oh, and he's been ulted by Slardar, so they can see exactly what he's doing. So, yeah, he runs in. to Roche. He sees the Vino ward. I'm down here farming, and I'm in chat. I think I'm like, what are you doing, buddy? And he gets jumped by Razor and Slardar. And they get him pretty easily, but I decide, you know, hey, this is an opportunity to catch some people off guard. I armlet, I ult, I reality rift, I get Enigma, I stun him. He is dead before he can black hole. That's supremely important. God, what a crazy team fight. Barely managed to take down Slardar. Vino dies too. Hooray, great. I used Avatar. You know, that's it. The BKB is yet another thing that you have to add to the order of operations. I think that was the one that got left out that fight. I should have used it a little earlier. But I managed to not die. I wait until after Vino's poison has worn off to turn off my armlet because I know I'm going to lose HP. And I TP back to base. But unfortunately, again, you know, we've got a great advantage here. We've got, you know, roughly 30 seconds before most of their team is back up. 4 of our heroes are up. And we can't really seem to capitalize here. You know, we've got our Juggernaut saying just leave, which is kind of rude, but Pudge goes to shop. I have to go heal. Blue's not in a position to do much because he's only just come back to life. And as a result, you know, we just kind of loaf and can't take advantage of the situation. What they should have done was all aggressively go push mid. You know, obviously I had to TP back and Timbersaw couldn't, but I get the double damage, so I decide, okay, alright, I've got double damage. We're all back up, so are they. But since I've got this DD, even though my ult is down, I'm going to try to go make something happen. Because a DD Chaos Knight is absurd. I don't know if your illusions get the double damage now that I think about it anyway, so maybe they do. You know, if they do, obviously that can be very powerful, but it's irrelevant in this situation because of the cooldown. So, 3 of us are here, the other 2 are on their way. And we're just going to go in. I pop Avatar because I just want to get this tower. Unfortunately, Black Hole works through Avatar, which sucks. So keep that in mind if you go BKB versus an Enigma. I don't think you take damage, but you still are disabled for that entire time. Oh, Necrolite hits me with a really massive ult. Very good move on his part. Still, we're going to get the tower, which is a good thing to get. You know, despite the fact that ultimately we lost this fight 4-2, our Pudge gets away. We still sort of broken down the front door. Progress is being made. I feel a little bit better. So this game ends up at a stalemate for quite a while, and I'm going to show you kind of an example of the team fights that have led it to be a stalemate. We tried to push a few more times, failed. You know, they got Roche. It's, you know, we just can't seem to make much progress. You know, we go to check out Roche again to see if Roche is back up. Got a double damage invisible Slar, which is bad news bears. You know, he's sitting there waiting to engage us, but we're kind of splitting apart. And boom, suddenly there it all is. I immediately turn on my BKB to prevent myself from being stunned. Crazy fights occurring, all abilities being popped, pipe goes off, you know, Slardar dies, I die, you know, Pudge is doing his best to kill Venomancer, barely not gonna get him, but we get Razor. Oh no, wait, Venomancer does end up getting killed. Necrolite being run down. I think they're gonna get him. I think they can do it. And come on. Yeah, they got him. So, 3 for 4. That's an example of kind of the evenness of all of our exchanges. You know, we're still getting the advantage on kills, but like they have abilities that are ridiculously strong against what we've got. And we have to be really careful despite the fact that our heroes are a bit more powerful. Let's take a look at some graphs real quick. Yeah, we've got a gold earned advantage. Or I'm sorry, an EXP earned advantage of nearly 20,000, a gold earned advantage of nearly 10,000, and I'm sitting there at this point just like, why aren't we winning this game? And it's because, again, they have so much life drain, and it's all AoE stuff that they can use very defensively. And you know, well, you know, I'm on Skype with my buddy DR. This is largely a pub team. There are only 2 of us who kind of know each other. So we can't organize too well. And I think it's around this time that I begin to notice a few things, like Juggernaut's not laying his healing ward until very late in fights as opposed to early, and we don't have a Vlad's, and that sort of thing can be very, very helpful. And I start telling the team about this stuff, and we talk about it, and we begin kind of figuring out what it is we need to do to win. Item-wise, I've got an Assault Cuirass, the BKB, you know, pretty solid round of items. You know, I probably would exchange maybe the drums for a heart because I've used all of the charges, so I think that's what I end up working towards. I think Pudge tells me that he can buy drums and that's what he wants to do, and I say perfect. But unfortunately I'm also dying in a lot of these team fights, just because I'm kind of an initiator and a face wrecker, and I just end up getting into the middle of everything. So we go up and try to gank Vino here, but unfortunately he's got a Shadow Blade and no one has room for Dust or Wards or anything like that. But Necrolite walks into the middle of our push here. So this is good news for us. We are pushing 5-on-4. I've got my illusions up. I've managed to use my order of operations pretty properly here. Going for Vino again, get him surrounded, but he Shadow Blades. I'm just trying to distract them at this point. I want to keep them off our guys. That, you know, even though I'm getting black hole here, that's actually good. I'm the only person getting hit by this black hole. Timbersaw probably shouldn't have been up here, because again, the goal here is not to get kills, it's to keep their team away so that the barracks can be destroyed. And we managed to get the Rex. Thank goodness. So, more progress being made finally, but there's still a lot of work to do. Again, still a very powerful team of heroes that we are up against. So shortly later, they've managed to gank Lich. Their Vino did a really good job doing so with his Shadow Blade, and I think he's going for a Butterfly because he just wants to carry. And they've got an Aegis, so they decide, okay, time to counter push mid. You know, we see this is coming. We tell Jug, please do not get killed. And at this point, we decide Jug should preemptively put down his healing ward, which I believe he's about to do. He throws it down. Yeah. So the healing ward is down. And with that healing ward down, and I believe we now have a Vlad's too, our survivability as a team is drastically increased. Almost gets Slardar there, but Black Hole goes out just in the nick of time. But Slardar now down, Aegis up. Thankfully, the healing ward's still there. Vlad's still up. Look at my health. It's not drained at all, despite the fact that all of their life-draining stuff, their AoE crap is going on. And we managed just about a perfect defense here. So we've got... Come on. Alright, Razor's dead. So, boom. 4 heroes dive just in exchange for 1. It's Jug, which is kind of a bummer because he's obviously a very powerful late-game hero, but even so, couldn't have asked for a better result there. Getting that healing ward down, I think after that fight I said the healing ward was the MVP of that fight because it basically counteracted all of the crap that they did to us. So very, very powerful late-game ability to use. You know, you don't traditionally think of it as why Juggernaut might be powerful late game. You think, you know, obviously he's going to do massive amounts of damage, etc. But the healing ward saved our butts there. So yeah, I think that signals kind of a turning point that allows us to start making some progress here. Unfortunately, their Vino does a really good job of stalling this push, using images, wards, everything like that. We still are working really hard to get there. I don't remember what happens, so I'm going to be casting this cold. We're going to see if we manage to actually get in there and do some damage. I think at this point, yeah, I trade out my drum for a Reaver. And, you know, I think this ends up going horribly wrong. I'm trying to remember. We're going to find out. But again, my goal here is to do the same thing as before. I want to try to distract and allow them... Oh, no, wait, no. We go straight for the racks, which is good. I go for Razor. Manages to escape. And excellent, we got both racks. So, you know, at this point, our Timbersaw has a Bloodstone that's got tons of charges. It's really good. It allows him to come back to life very quickly, even if he dies. You know, it takes me 100 seconds and Pudge 100 seconds to come back to life, which is ridiculous. It takes Timbersaw like under 40, which is so handy for situations where you have to worry about counter pushing. So the Bloodstone is paying off huge dividends for our team. Lich also barely manages to survive, and Jug, I think, got away very early in that fight, if he was even there at all. He may have been dead for the beginning of it. But we get both racks, we lose some heroes, sure, but we're not going to be threatened by the counter push right now. So now it's just a matter of closing out. Just gotta get that final little bit. They've been holding on like champs. Let's check some graphs here. The EXP earned, you know, it was 20,000 last time we checked. Obviously, it's heading in kind of the wrong direction. So, yeah, look at that. Boom, it just drops tremendously. We're still way ahead in gold, so that's nice. But, you know, as things go on, you know, they're all going to hit level 25 too, and, you know, things can only get worse for us. So hopefully we can close out. We've got the 4 racks down. We just got to, you know, hold on until our whole team's back. So their counter push there managed to take out our top tower, but that was it. That was the only thing we really had to worry about. At this point, I've got enough money for my heart. I really want to get a wave going top, really want to end this game. But this was a foolish maneuver on my part because Jug is down. You know, I got overconfident. I figured, you know, we can just lay on the pressure and, you know, get those last 2 racks and it'll be great. So I get my heart, which is really great. You know, I'm sitting at nearly 4,000 HP. My regen when my heart is active is 92 a second, which is absurd. So everybody's coming top, who is alive. You know, we've got Timbersaw and Pudge taking care of that creep wave. And at this point, I'm going to continue my strategy of attempting to distract them while my allies try to take out the tower and the racks. Here's how an example of how that can also backfire when your team's synergy isn't as great as it could be. So I go in, I'm just causing chaos as the Chaos Knight. Obviously, I don't have my images up, which is bad news, but they're kind of distracted. Pudge hooks me out. That's the problem. He hooked me right to the rest of the team, and boom, all of that AoE nasty stuff that I was talking about earlier that involves them draining things goes off at once directly on the ramp, the exact last place you want it to be. If I hadn't been hooked there, that may have been avoidable. You know, granted, I was at half health already. You know, I probably wasn't gonna, you know, kill anyone. May have gotten killed. You know, things weren't going that great, but we probably could have at least gotten the tower there if we hadn't bunched up. Jug is, of course, back to life and decides, okay, I'm gonna try to solo rush, but I think we all in the chat are like, dude, that might not be the best idea right now because they may know, and it looks like they do. But he gets an invis rune, runs out, and at this point we're like, hey, he's got invisibility, why doesn't he just ult Razor? So we're like, dude, ult Razor, and I think he does. And oh, glory, 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 that is a dead Razor. We then tell him to Blade Fury, and we tell him Blade Fury so he can get out, but he Blade Furies and sits in for a second. Fortunately, though, I think he still ends up escaping. So again, we all managed to respawn. They're dealing with too many creeps to kind of do anything. Their Necro tried to push into our top, but we managed to kill him before he did pretty much any damage. And they decide it's desperation time, let's go for Roche. So Vino's got some wards up to prevent this, even though... but they've just got no choice. So I get Razor and have him really early, 4 seconds stun. Use everything except for my BKB, which... oh no, I already used it. That's a pretty damn nice black hole, but unfortunately none of his team is around to really take advantage. Jug ults, very nice. He does not have his ward down, which is very sad. If he had his ward down, I might have survived this fight, but it doesn't matter too much. It's still a great fight on our part. I think this ends up being the straw that breaks the camel's back. Venomancer, despite using his ult and everything, and Enigma, despite that black hole and all that life drain, managed to go down. We've got three members of our team up, Necrolite and Vino are back. Vino has bought back. We're going to push real hard. You know, I'm sitting pretty with my 70-second regen, or, you know, death time, just watching and hoping. Oh no, wait, Vino had escaped. He did not buy back, so he was just very, very low on health. So Pudge is keeping them distracted at the fountain, doing what I had kind of initially been doing, while Timbersaw and Jug just wreck the towers, and then they can go straight for the fountain. So that Venomancer does a whole lot of damage right now, because I think he's got a butterfly, and but it's not quite enough. Well, maybe it is to get Jug. But with Necro dead, Timbersaw there creeps in, you know, plenty of time before... Oh, Necro buys back, so good thought on his part, but I think it's just not going to be enough. And there goes the throne! Finally! Oof. A nearly 70-minute game, where I did my job pretty well as the Chaos Knights, mid-game ganking. Really, really solid there, particularly in conjunction with Pudge. But towards the late game, we just ended up kind of throwing ourselves at them over and over again. Oh man, that Pudge sound effect is annoying. But hooray, you know, our team all level 25 except for Lich, who's playing support, so that's no surprise there. Pudge 23 kills, me 27 kills. Ridiculous amount of deaths caused by us. And their whole team pretty balanced, yeah. That Venomancer had a Shadow Blade, a Butterfly, a Scepter, and a Manta Style, so he was probably their team's carry more than the Razor. The Razor, I think, didn't really have much at all. Enigma, of course, also. Wow, some great items there. Oh, and of course, Slardar. Slardar was doing pretty well by the end there. He managed to kind of pull back from his slow start with the Desolator, Satanic, etc. So, that about wraps it up for this episode. I will be doing more of these, probably at least one a week. I hope you enjoyed, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm going to be shameless for a second and say it would be great to get some people subscribing. Definitely would encourage me to make more of these, so I hope you enjoyed.